The night was a vast, inky canvas, and I was just another brushstroke, painting misery with every dispatch, another graveyard shift bleeding into the next. The fluorescent hum of the 911 call center a constant companion, a dull throb behind the eyeballs. The air was stale, recycled fear and stale coffee brewing a potent cocktail of existential dread. Most calls were the usual symphony of human frailty, fender benders, domestic squabbles, the occasional late-night pizza delivery gone wrong, mundane woes easily filed away, forgotten by sunrise. But some calls, they dig their claws in deep. They gnaw at the edges of your perception, leaving behind a residue that no amount of sleep can wash away. This one, it arrived precisely at the witching hour, 2:30 a.m., the kind of time when the world seems to hold its breath, when the veil between what is and what isn't thins to transparency. I'd seen a lot of things come across these lines, heard things that would make a saint curse, but this call, it shattered something fundamental inside me. It saved a life, sure, but at a cost I still can't quite fathom for the caller. The first sound wasn't a scream, wasn't a cry for help. It was a rhythmic, deliberate knocking coming from somewhere impossible, a sound that echoed not just in my headset, but in the marrow of my bones. The line buzzed, a new call flashing on my screen. I clicked it over, the routine etched into my muscle memory. 911, what's your emergency? The voice on the other end was a woman's, high-pitched, strained, teetering on the edge of hysteria. Eleanor Vance, the address, 1427 Hawthorne Lane. A quiet street, suburban dreams packaged in neat little boxes, usually filled with nothing more menacing than HOA meetings and lawn gnomes. Tonight, though, the package had been torn open, and something ugly was spilling out. "There's a child in my wardrobe," she gasped, her voice thick with panic. "He's knocking. I can hear him. He's crying." My training kicked in. Stay calm. Get the facts. Prioritize. "Ma'am, please slow down. What's the child's name? Is it your child?" "No, I don't know him. He started knocking from inside my bedroom wardrobe. I opened it. It was empty. Just close. But then I closed it and the knocking started again. And he's talking. He's scared." Her words tumbled out, a waterfall of terror. My finger hovered over the dispatch button, already categorizing it. Child endangerment. High priority. But there was a snag, a detail that prickled at the back of my neck. Empty when she opened it. My mind, a cynical old dog, sniffed at the edges of a possible hoax, a hallucination, a bad dream made real by too much wine. But the child's voice on the line, faint, muffled, undeniably real, cut through my skepticism. He was pleading, a small, desperate sound. "Please, help me. Daddy's going to hurt me. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. Officers are being dispatched to your location immediately. Can you tell me anything else he's saying?" I kept my voice steady, a lighthouse in her personal storm. He's saying his daddy's coming back, that he's scared. He's crying, operator. He's crying in there." The knocking intensified, a frantic thumping now, punctuated by the boy's whimpers. The sound was too real, too desperate to ignore. The cold logic of my job clashed with the primal fear in her voice. A child was in danger. That was the only truth that mattered right now. I dispatched 2 patrol units, lights, and sirens. Every second was a lifetime when a kid was on the line. And this kid, he sounded like he was running out of time. The minutes crawled by, each one a lead weight, dragging us deeper into the mire. My headset was a conduit to 2 converging realities, both screaming for attention. The officers were on approach, a siren's distant wail cutting through the night. Eleanor was still on the line, her breath hitching, the rhythmic thudding from the wardrobe a constant, unwelcome beat. Then, the crackle of the police radio. Unit 34 to dispatch. Arrived at 1427 Hawthorne Lane. Front door. Looks clear. No signs of forced entry. Looks quiet. Copy that. Unit 34, I replied, then switched back to Eleanor's line. "Ma'am, the officers are there. Can you see them?" Yes, I see the patrol car. They're pulling up now." Her voice, a thin thread of hope, was almost a whisper. But then, the next transmission from Unit 34 hit me like a cold spray. "Dispatch, we have contact with a male subject at the door. He identifies himself as Arthur Collins, homeowner. Says he lives alone, sir. Leo, with his son." My heart hammered against my ribs. A chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning snaked its way up my spine. Arthur Collins lives alone. This wasn't adding up. "Ma'am, is there a Mr. Arthur Collins there with you?" "No. What are you talking about? It's just me. I'm here. I'm right here. Her voice trembled, confusion warring with terror. It was a logic knot, tied by a ghost and sealed with a child's terror. Two realities, one house, one impossible situation. The streetlights outside were casting long, accusing shadows, but the real darkness was twisting inside my skull. Then, through Eleanor's line, I heard it again. The boy's voice, clearer this time, tinged with a chilling, knowing innocence. Daddy says I shouldn't talk to strangers, but you're not a stranger if you're helping, are you? It confirmed everything Eleanor had said. The child was real. The knocking was real. His fear was real. But how could Eleanor see the patrol car, be in the house, if Collins said he lived alone? My rational mind, usually a fortress of calm procedure, was crumbling. This wasn't a standard welfare check anymore. This was a jump into the abyss. I relayed the boy's words, the chilling confirmation, to the officers. Their silence on the radio spoke volumes. Even they, hardened by the streets, could feel the invisible thread of something deeply wrong weaving its way through this call. The confusion on the officer's end was palpable, a tangible thing even through the radio static. They were trained to handle the tangible, the concrete, a man, a boy, a house. But this was something else. They pressed Mr. Collins, gently at first, then with the weight of official authority, and the truth, when it came, landed like a punch to the gut. He said, "He bought the house, dispatch." Unit 34's voice crackled, laced with an unnerving disbelief. 3 years ago, from the estate of a Robert Vance, my blood ran cold. On Eleanor's line, a sharp gasp, a sound of pure, unadulterated horror. She was processing it, the pieces falling into place, each one a shard of glass ripping through her already frayed composure. The past is a loaded gun, and sometimes it just goes off, right in the present. Robert Vance, Eleanor whispered, her voice fading, thin as tissue paper. But Robert, he only died a year ago. A year ago. The words hung in the air, a phantom limb of truth. Then, the full, crushing weight of it slammed into her. The implication of the timeline, the chilling discrepancy. It wasn't just a house, it was a tomb. If Mr. Collins bought the house 3 years ago from Robert's estate, and Robert died, then, her voice wavered, a ghost already in the making. The terror was no longer just for the boy. It was for herself, her very existence. When did I die? The question hung in the air, a cold, empty echo. My own breath hitched. The air crackled with the impossible, the kind of truth that sends shivers down your spine and tells you the world isn't what you thought it was. This was the moment the floor dropped out from under the world, my world, Eleanor's world, the officer's world. Simultaneously, over the police radio, a frantic, desperate cry erupted from upstairs in the house. A child's scream. "He's up here!" "I can hear him," Unit 34 barked. "Sounds like it's coming from the master bedroom. Doors locked!" The sound of a heavy shoulder hitting wood. Splintering, a burst of adrenaline, professional duty kicking back in, overriding the profound existential dread. They were going for the wardrobe. The horrifying realization was dawning on Eleanor, but the immediate crisis of the child was still very much real. One reality was dissolving, but another, terrifying one, was colliding head-on. The sound of splintering wood, the crash of the door giving way. It was the sound of reality tearing itself apart. The officers burst into the master bedroom, and there, just as Eleanor had described, was the wardrobe. Unit 34 shouted something, muffled, then a clear, joyous exclamation. "We got him! Dispatch, we found the boy. He's in the wardrobe. Leo, son, you're safe now." A wave of professional relief washed over me. The primary mission, the child's safety, had been accomplished, but it was a hollow victory, tainted by the chilling truth that was unraveling on Eleanor's line. Her voice, once so urgent, so terrified, began to fade. It wasn't just quieter, it was becoming ethereal, distant, as if she were being pulled away by an unseen current. "He's safe. The boy is safe," I whispered, trying to offer some closure, some comfort. "Safe, yes, safe." Her voice was a breath, a whisper on the edge of the wind. Just dark and wind, so much wind. The words were a lament, a farewell. They drifted off, like smoke, dissolving into nothingness. The line disconnected, silence, a dial tone, then the flat, empty hum of a dead line. My hand trembled as I keyed in her number, the one displayed on my screen. The line had been registered to a Robert and Eleanor Vance for decades. A deep breath. I hit redial. The phone rang once, twice, then a faint, hollow, whistling sound, like wind blowing through a cracked window pane in a derelict house or across the mouth of an empty bottle left on a forgotten grave. It was desolate, chilling. It was the sound of absence, the sound of a soul untethered. NL filed the report. Child found. Safe. Arthur Collins. Interviewed. Welfare check. Concluded. Every box ticked. Every detail accurate. Except for the parts my logical mind couldn't process. The parts that defied the laws of physics and the boundaries of life and death. The knocking from an empty wardrobe. The caller who insisted she was there, yet wasn't. The ghost who saved a child. They carve their way into you, leave a permanent scar on the soul. Eleanor Vance, whoever, whatever she was, saved that boy. She was a voice on the line, a whisper from beyond the veil. And I, the jaded operator, was just there to bear witness to the truth that sometimes the dead don't just rest in peace. Sometimes they still have work to do. And sometimes the most terrifying calls are the ones that reveal the true nature of reality, or the lack thereof.